Welcome, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Tradesman Talks, where we riff on ideas and strategies for you to improve your home service business or even help those who are considering starting a home service business. Today, we want to dive into how to maximize your profit with your home service businesses. So, we're going to go into specific examples with the businesses that me and Wilson run with cabinet refinishing, but the concepts will certainly apply to whatever home service that you're providing with your business. So get ready to take some notes and we'll dive in deep. But before we do that, how was your week, Wilson?
It's good, man. It's one of those weeks where I woke up this morning and I was just really confused as how it was already Thursday.
Yeah.
So we getting a lot done. We just hit a new PR with the Austin location in terms of our free leads. So really excited about that. We had like 1,200 people find us last month, all through organic. Yeah, not bad. So pretty pumped for that. We're going to keep pushing it and keep scaling it. We've had to use way less money to scale this than other businesses, which is great because obviously on today's topic, a penny saved is a penny earned. You know, that's money that's going back in our pocket. So 10 out of 10 would recommend. How about you, man?
Yeah, that's great. You're dialing that in. And for those who are curious what Wilson is talking about, there's of course paid advertising, and then there's free forms of advertising your business. And Wilson is implementing some strategies that don't necessarily cost money, but they do cost a little bit of your time every week. If implemented, can translate to exponential returns. And so if you are curious about free ways to generate leads, go ahead and email us at support@cabinetstartup.com. We'd love to give you some guidance on how to do that.
Yep.
But my week's gone well. Today we actually rolled out a Father's Day promotion, a little behind. Ideally, it would have been a little bit earlier in the week, but it was nice to see that idea was at least having our head in the right spot in a good direction, because what we did was a lot of the leads that we haven't been able to get in contact with or appointments that we attended some time ago, we sent a text message to all of them just checking in and letting them know about our Father's Day promotion.
Nice.
And one of the things we'll touch on this podcast is, instead of offering a discount, what we did was offer to add their guest bathroom to their project with no additional cost if they were to call us by Monday to reserve their start date.
Okay.
And the only way they reserve their start date is if they submit a deposit.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's kind of a way of saying, give me your money without sounding intimidating.
Right. Which is value in that. Knowing how to say is equally important as knowing what to say.
And we had a couple people actually reply to that and take us up on that. And so that was really cool to see. And it's another reminder of what everyone should be doing, with there always being some sort of holiday around the corner. You simply need any reason at all to run a promotion. Right. And so the holidays are low-hanging fruit with being reasons for you to run a promotion, whether it's Father's Day, and the other one's coming up.
Yeah,
whatever that might be. But it doesn't even have to be a holiday. The holidays are certainly easy ones to come by, but sending out promotions, or in other words, reasons for them to move forward, is what you want to do on a regular basis. And we have seen text messaging be the most receptive. Understandably, nowadays, people have their phones, regardless of their age. Everyone has their phones on their hip or within arm's reach most of the time. And so if you want to get a message out to your leads, texting is a good way to do that. And a lot of people nowadays prefer texting. Yep. And so it's a convenient way to connect with your prospects, and sending them out a promotion, or like I said, another way of saying, giving them a reason to move forward, is a good way to kind of move them on to the next step in your sales process. But that's what we tested today. And so I consider that a bit of a win. We also started getting some more appointments. Vaughn, our office person, She booked like 6 appointments just yesterday.
Nice.
I didn't check to see what she got done today, but starting to get some more momentum with that. And same as you mentioned as well, we're getting some organic stuff. I started posting based off of the templates you created for the course. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Not for some reason, not quite getting as many views as you have, but it is trickling in and it's translating into results. And so with consistency, we expect that to grow.
That's exactly what it is. It's consistency and using the keywords. Like we were looking at a chart, so ours would like this, and then just kind of did that hockey stick thing at the end.
Okay.
And, it's you're playing the algorithm, which is part of the reason why we made the blueprints like
Got to
that.
massage the algorithm.
100%. And that's kind of what we talk about in the marketing course. Is like, hey, this is why it can't be a one and done type of thing.
Right. And they all have algorithms now. They all have certain criteria, and they being these online platforms have certain criteria they look for when we are posting. They read our posts, they watch our posts in some technological way. they can understand what we're posting, and they're looking for the most relevant and value adding content. And so if you could do that on a consistent basis, they are going to promote you because you, being us, serve their clients a lot better than other people who are just posting random shit.
And if you're doing it well, especially for people in trades and home services, like the number of guys that I talk to that are actually using this in any way, shape, or form is such a small minority. I was doing some research after our conversation with Callie last week. Less than 36% of small businesses even have a website.
Less than 36%.
Less than 30%.
Hear that, everyone? So if you have a website, you can consider yourself a little bit more of a modern business.
Yeah, I mean, dude, 100%. That's like the first. And me as a business owner, that's one of the first things I look at. Somebody's like, "Oh yeah, we'll do this work." If I can't find your website, I'm like, "Listen, dude, if you didn't take it seriously enough to go put together a website, I
expect that number to dramatically grow, being more than 36% of businesses having a website, because as we've been helping small businesses for several years now, we have seen websites becoming more normal, but more so business owners recognizing the benefit of online advertising. When I first started Elite Cabinet Coatings, we were an outlier business having a website and certainly having paid advertising. Most contractors or home service people, they had a vendetta against paid advertising or lead generation. And now it seems home service pros, all they want is leads.
Yep.
And which is a good step in the right direction. Soon they will realize they need more than just leads. We need a way of managing and nurturing and fulfilling with those leads.
Right.
And so, but the fact that they're starting to welcome technology is a great sign. And so certainly having a website is one of the foundational components to that process of becoming a more modern business.
Yep. But if you think if that few people actually have a website, like how many people are actually using some of the more challenging strategies? How many people are actually taking the organic stuff and finding the great search terms and putting that stuff together? And the answer is very few, which is part of the reason why we save so much money, right? Which puts a bow back on it, bringing us back to the conversation. So, Stephen, I'm a business owner. I want to make more money with what I'm currently doing. What's your first tip?
Well, the way I would answer that is first addressing two factors to that equation. When you want more profits, you can either decrease your expenses or you could increase your revenue. Ideally, we want to do both. And so I typically like to start off and recommend people start off by trimming their expenses, because that typically is more within the realm of our control.
Yep.
And if we can address those things first, it can give us some breathing room and even more cash flow to invest into increasing our revenue. If our expenses are maxed out we don't really have any money to invest into higher revenue. And we'll talk about things where it doesn't necessarily require more money to raise revenue, but to emphasize decreasing expenses first. You had some good examples you brought up before the call. One of the first things you want to look at is how much you're spending on materials.
Yeah.
And we as humans love to get into grooves of habit. And sometimes we do things just because that's how we've done it over time. And so when it comes to your suppliers of materials and products that you're using, you want to first really dive into that and dissect where your money is going with your materials. And you want to go into a little bit more detail about that? I don't want to take over your idea.
No, I mean, it's original. No, so for us,
Innovation.
two things I thought were really interesting about it, right? So one is when we get stuck in the habits of, let's say, like where we're getting our supplies from. It's like people stop at convenience stores, right? You buy an energy drink at a convenience store, it's $4. I buy these at Sam's Club for like $1.60, right? Doesn't sound like much, but it adds up. That little convenience fee is something we, in some ways, we're paying with our paint supplies. So the company that we're buying from was really fast. They have really good quality stuff, but it was $80 per gallon for the paint. And then we were paying pretty large shipping costs. It worked out to be almost 105 gallons per $105 per gallon. And part of that was the convenience of, we always knew it was going to be on time. We always knew kind of how it was going to arrive there really, really smooth. But then when you do the math, we're going through 10, 15 gallons a week. So it's like, well, wait a second. Yeah. If I'm spending an extra $30 per gallon, it's $300 a week. Is the convenience factor worth $1,200? Because I can almost pay somebody part-time 20 hours a week to just go get my paint for me and break even. Mm-hmm. So assessing the convenience fee we were paying was a big part of it. And then the second thing was, we actually went and bargained. We went to a local paint shop and said, hey, this is how much paint we're buying. These are the quality standards we expect. What can you do? And why should we let you? And it was amazing. These guys rolled out the red carpets. It was like, they were like, oh crap, yeah, we want your business. Like, we'll do what it takes. Tell us what you need. Tell us the agreement. And they met our convenience standards. They went above and beyond in order to win that business. And part of that, I think having more volume helps. Like, they would probably, do backflips for you. But we were pretty excited with that. And so I think, one, assessing the convenience fee if you're paying, like, are you paying extra to have it a certain way? And is that worth the fee? And then two, negotiate. Like, ask them for a better price. The worst they can do is say no.
Absolutely. That's one thing to recognize is you as a business owner, and you're going to suppliers every week or on a regular basis, you are their customer. And if they want to keep you as a customer, your existing supplier, they may be more willing to decrease what they're charging you. A lot of suppliers will start people off high because they don't know how long you're going to be around. And so in a way, they really try to milk the cow as much as they can at the beginning without knowing how long you're going to be coming back. And so once you've been with that person for a little bit and you can show volume, you can show consistency, it starts to give you a little bit of leverage where once you've proven you're going to be coming back time and time again, they're going to be willing to pay for that consistency. And just like you are willing to pay for convenience, knowing that something's going to be there on time when it's ordered, they want to pay for the convenience of not having to go find another customer either. Yep. Or also. So you want to play the cards both ways. And don't be afraid to ask for a discount. A lot of people who get in these agreements with their suppliers, they just may feel a little intimidated, or they want to avoid the topic. They want to avoid some sort of tension that might come up when you think about asking for a discount. I don't know. Some people interpret things differently, but
if it makes them mad and they don't want to sell me paint anymore.
Yeah. If you have resistance towards asking for a discount, I encourage you to this challenge of going to your supplier and saying, hey, we really like, if this is true, you could say, hey, we really like working with you. We want to continue to work with you in the long run. As our expenses are going up just like everyone else's. So we wanted to see what we can do in order to maintain our partnership with you. Is there anything that we can do with the pricing that we're being charged on whatever you're buying? And try to negotiate. You don't have to be as general. You can go to them with an offer. Hey, can you take 10% off, or can you, let's say instead of $80 a gallon for paint, would you guys consider $70 a gallon?
Yep.
And I would start by at least asking and opening up that conversation. And if that doesn't seem to be very fruitful for you, then you can go and do what Wilson did, or what some people do, and they just price shop. I recommend everyone to do this. And if you can find a supplier that has the standards that you're looking to meet, and they can give you a good price and give you a good service, then you're doing your business a disservice by not going with that new supplier.
Yeah.
As they say, it's just business. And so don't keep paying someone because you don't want to hurt their feelings.
Yeah. I think it's good to recognize, like, business in a lot of ways is a game. It's like nobody gets offended when you negotiate Monopoly. I don't know why this would be any different.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be different. It's usually just in our own heads, which we've brought up before, just getting in our own way, these stories we tell ourselves. So, look at your business as objectively as you possibly can, and start moving the pieces now more than ever in this crazy, environment with inflation and supply chains and just things that can be described as a little bit unpredictable. We need to try to buckle down with the business. And the first thing I encourage you guys to do is try to trim your expenses as much as possible, because everyone can't just keep raising their prices.
Correct.
And we'll get into how you can do that. I mean, if everyone does it, eventually it's got to stop. We got to start building, and managing better businesses in order to make more money, not just keep charging more, because eventually people are going to start saying no.
Yeah. Well, and the really important thing that you kind of touched on there is, like, it really is a great first step to being able to go earn more money, because all of the profits that you free up, you can now put into things that make your business better. So you can make more money. It's like easy step one. What would you say is step two? So I just decreased all my expenses. Now what?
How about we go into more examples of decreasing expenses?
Okay. Yeah.
Because there are some low hanging fruit with that. Materials certainly being one, but also merchant processing. A lot of us are paying money to collect money. And, some of us are paying thousands of dollars every month just to collect money. And imagine if you can reduce that by $500 only $500 a month, 20% of your merchant processing, give or take, that can equate to a lot over the year, and certainly into something that can improve your business's revenue. And so merchant processing is something you also want to look into. And another big one can be auto insurance and different insurances, whether it's your general liability, your auto insurance. These things can fluctuate in cost from time to time. And these insurance companies, they are businesses also. They're not just going to reach out to you and say, hey, by the way, we want to give you the same coverage for $200 less a month. They're not going to do that. And so you want to check in every few months, or at least every 6 months, and see what is out there. Perfect example, I know with my auto insurance, we had fleet vehicles, and unfortunately we're in Florida. It's a no-fault state, which simply means everyone's at fault. And so if you get in a no-fault accident, it's still a tally on your driving record, not points wise, but actuarially.
They're going to charge you more money.
With the actuary tables with insurance, they still see you as a statistical risk. And so we had our insurance dropped, or they dropped us. And so my rates exploded. Sure. But I checked back in several years later, and now we dropped them by like 200% or 100%, like they, or in half. I clearly don't know my math today. We went from like $4,000 a month to over $1,000 a month.
That's good.
Yeah, it was a huge drop. And so that's something people want to look into, regardless of where you're at. There very well could be a discount. And not only checking in with the same company, but having companies compete for your business. Like we talked about with materials, you can very well do that with insurance. Another low hanging fruit can be how some of the costs you might be covering for your guys. Let's say you have multiple teams and you're just paying everyone's reimbursement receipts without really looking into them, or you're just paying everyone's gas. Well, how much of that gas is actually them coming to and from work? I know if you don't have a effective way of tracking what gas is being used for work, let's say they're using their personal vehicles and you're offering to pay, I highly recommend just taking an average and giving them a weekly stipend.
Yep.
Rather than just reimbursing everything, because they're going to be going through a shit ton of tolls. They're going to be from time to time, and may not even be on purpose, because if you aren't tracking it well, they certainly aren't tracking it well. And so they might accidentally give you a receipt that was from the weekend or from a job that doesn't actually pertain to the job that they were on. So you want to look into some of the fuel costs, especially nowadays with it being around $5 a gallon. So
yeah, well, nobody cares about your money like you do. So if you have an agreement where you're reimbursing or you're giving stipends and things like that, you should probably audit that pretty regularly. I'd say the same thing for marketing. That's something we see sometimes. Guys will sign up for some marketing service, $200 a month, no big deal, right? And it just continues on, to infinity, and they've never gotten a lead.
Right. Some of these website management businesses.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
SEO companies, you want to look into, are they really doing what they are charging you for? And is the juice worth the squeeze? Are they actually delivering the results that you're expecting? And if not, cut them out. We talked earlier at the call, email us support@cabinetstartup.com if you're looking for free ways to generate leads. It doesn't take a whole lot of time, and you can repurpose a lot of the content that you're making, whether it's on Facebook or Instagram, and you can use that as a way to generate free leads. And so some of these services you might be paying other people for, whether it's to get, at the top of Google, or to manage your website every month, or to, whatever some of these people pay for, really dissect your monthly subscriptions. I would say is a better way of putting it.
Another good one you could probably do, and it depends. Not everybody uses business credit. I do because it's for points. But if you've had history with a credit card for more than a year or two, it's pretty easy to call them up and negotiate better rates, especially if you have a history of paying on time and decent credit.
Yeah, that's a great point. Most of these people, well, I can't say most because I don't know, but a lot of people may not have an actual business credit card. They're using their personal credit with everything. I know there's plenty of contractors or home service people using their personal checking account for their business. I really encourage you guys to divorce yourself between you and your business and really have it separated from a financial aspect. Have a business checking account and then get a business credit account, because business credit is so much more powerful and so much easier to obtain. And if you can run most of your business expenses through your rewards credit card, like a Chase credit card, or, there's so many rewards cards now.
Chase is phenomenal. Capital One has a really, really good one.
Pay them off every month. You're going to get bonuses from that rather than just spending your cash. Now, you obviously want to budget. Don't max out your credit card and spend all of your cash.
Definitely pay it off.
Keep your cash through the month and use the card through the month, so you get a bunch of points, or even cash back, and then at the end of the month pay it off. That's going to boost your credit. That's going to help your cash flow, and it's going to actually pay you dividends in the form of rewards. And so, the benefit of having increased credit means you're going to much more easily be able to finance things, whether it's work vehicles, whatever you want to finance down the road, big purchases. You can start buying things under your business, and it's a lot easier. So many times I've bought cars under my business, and they don't ask for any financial. I just give them my EIN number, and they don't ask for any bank statements or anything. It's crazy. Really? I bought that Gladiator. I said, listen, I'm going to buy this whether you approve it or not. Like, you let me use your money or I'll use mine. I don't care. And and yeah, they didn't ask for anything, and it was a brand new LLC I bought it under, and it's crazy. So if you have good business credit, it can be a powerful thing.
Yep.
And so those are some good things. We actually are running quick on time today. Well, so those are some things about expenses, guys. That's where I really encourage you guys to start off with. Maybe we might make this a two-part video.
Yeah.
But just to kind of touch on some ideas that we can elaborate on later when it comes to raising your revenue. You of course can sell more of your service, which is an obvious one, but there's might be some intricacies involved with increasing your deal flow. You know, you want to increase your opportunities, meaning more appointments. And if you're maxing out your schedule with going on appointments, then you might be maxed out with opportunities if you only have one salesperson. And so one way to increase your revenue with your own hands, or you as your sole sales rep, is to increase your average order size. And so how can we charge more, or how can we get the most out of every sale? Well, it can be really common for home service pros to discount their stuff in order to get the job. And I would encourage everyone to look at it a little bit differently and wonder, how can you add value to this offer without decreasing revenue or decreasing profit? Some of these things you can add with minimal expense, and it can equal a lot more value to the customer, and you getting that job. Let's say in our business with cabinet refinishing, we can offer soft close hinges. And that might cost us $60 in revenue, but it saves us from having to make a $500 discount, and it adds to the value of that project. And if they're comparing our proposal with someone else, well, if they didn't like us, or if they did like us, but they're comparing the numbers, if we're including soft close hinges, then that might be all it takes to get them over the edge, or maybe it's adding more of your service, whether you're a countertop installer, maybe it's adding a faucet. If you're a flooring guy, maybe it's adding a guest bathroom, or for us, sometimes we'll add guest bathroom vanities. With us doing cabinet refinishing, we'll do the kitchen, and then we'll offer to do the guest bath if they sign up, by next week or something.
Yep.
So instead of going and say, well, what if here's a $500 discount. Now, what do you say? Well, they're going to take your discount and be like, and they're going to recognize that you're desperate for that business. And they're going to say, well, if you could do it for $600 less or $700 less, then we'll go forward with you. And now you just got, sold by your customer.
Give a mouse a cookie.
Yeah. Yeah. And so think of ways to increase the average order size, or prevent yourself from decreasing the average order size by giving discounts. And so we'll go into more detail on how to increase your revenue with your home service business. But I think we spent a good amount of time on talking about ways to decrease your expenses. And so that is to answer the question of, what can we do to maximize our profit with our home service business? We can decrease our expenses and we can increase our revenue. Ideally, we want to do both.
Yep.
And so if you guys go ahead.
What the list that we did in this podcast, like if you go through and implement those literally between now and next week, it will take you like 4 hours. And I imagine most people will probably be able to earn an extra like 5 to 10% back in their business. That's most people. Some people earn 15 to 20% back. And those are big numbers. If you're doing $10,000 a month, that's an extra 20 grand in your pocket at the end of the year.
Oh, for sure. At least, I mean, especially with merchant processors, there's merchant processors now not charging a percentage.
Right.
They're charging like $100 a month. And then, you still have to pay the interchange fee, but that 1 to 2 or 3% that they're charging on top is what you can save. And when you're doing 500, a million, a couple million a year, that saves a ton of money over time. And so definitely look into that, guys. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to shoot us over an email with any questions you have. Our address is support@cabinetstartup.com. Regardless of what trade you're in, we'd be happy to help you. And with that, we'll talk to you guys same place, same time next week.
All right, buddy.